Hey guys, welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'll be showing you how to pick up objects. Then you can also drop them like this. Let's get into it. Is get your static mesh in a folder and then right click in the content browser and select blueprint class and select on actor. I'm just going to call this BP_box. Then double click to open. And then in the component section over here, you want to drag in the static mesh and then you want to scale it to the appropriate size. For me it's 0.5, and then at the top over here where it says the name of the blueprint and self, in the details panel to the right, search for tag and add a tag. I'm just going to call this box. You can compile and save, and then go back to your content drawer and right click and scroll down to user interface and look for widget blueprint, and then select user widget. I'm just going to call this w_interact with box, and then I'm going to double click to open. Then we want to add a canvas panel. Then we want to just zoom out and size it up to the full screen, and then add some text. Set the alignment to 0.5, which pretty much just sets the pivot point to the center, and select size to context. We can select the center anchor. I'm just going to put the position X to 0 and position Y to about 400. And then depending on which key this text is going to change, but I'm going to use the 7 key to drop the box. So I'm just going to write press 7 to drop, and then you can make any other edits you want. So I'm just going to change the font and increase the size, and compile and save. Next, enter your BP first person character and go to your line trace logic over here, and then you want to go to your last branch and then add another branch, and then the condition is going to be actor has tag, and the tag is going to be whatever tag we added over here, so box. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it in. Then out of target, we want to drag it up. We want to just drag it up all the way up to this break hit result over here, and then plug that into hit actor. Then we also want to create a variable, so add a variable, and it's a boolean. Just call it is holding box, and then we want to also go to your viewport, or you don't need to necessarily go to your viewport, and then in the component section we want to add a static mesh, and we want to make sure it's inherited to the first person camera, and the static mesh is going to be the same one as this. So for me it's called create1, so I'm going to look for that, put it in. You want to scale it to the same size as in this blueprint over here, so for me it's 0.5. You want to scale that, and you want to move it to the location that would seem appropriate. So for me this seems okay, and then you just want to reset this property to its default value, so the static mesh is essentially none. So we can compile and save, and I'm just going to rename this to box location. The next, out of the true of this branch, we want to make sure that they're not holding another box. So we want to get is holding box and get another branch, and if that's false, out of the false node select destroy actor. Then out of target, we want to drag it all the way up to the break hit result, all the way up here to the break hit result, and plug it into hit actor. And then we want to go back down, and then we want to get our box location, the static mesh that we just created, and we want to set static mesh to the static mesh over here, so create1. I can just drag that, and then I also want to set this variable is holding box to true, and then we also want to create widget, and then the class is going to be the widget class that we just created, this one. So okay, I can't drag that, I'm just gonna have to manually do it. W_interact with box. Out of the return value, drag and look for add to viewport. That's it. And then, so I'm using the 7 key, and you can use whatever key you want. So I'm going to search for the 7 key over here, and under keyboard events, I'm just going to select it. And out of pressed, first we're going to get a branch, and we're going to get the is holding box variable. And if it's true, we want to set it false. And then we want to get the box and location static mesh, and we want to set static mesh, and we want to leave it as blank. And then we want to cast to, actually we don't want to cast to anything, we just want to spawn actor from class. Then the class is going to be this, the BP box. Spawn it at BP box. And then we want to split the pin struct of spawn transform. So you got to right click, do that. Then you want to get the box location over here. And then we want to get world location. And then we want to plug that into the spawn transform location. And then out of the return value, we want to set simulate physics to true. And that should pretty much be it. And we also want to finally, we just want to get all actors of class, or not get all actors, get all widgets of class. And then the widget class is going to be the same widget class, this one, interact with box. Out of found widgets, we want to get a for each loop. Out of array element, remove from parent, plug that into loop body, and that should be it. So we can test it out now. So I'm just going to drag it into the world. And I'm going to bring it up so we can test it out. So when I interact with the box, as you see, it's in my hand, and then I can move around, and then when I click on the key, it drops, and we can repeat this process. So thank you guys for watching. If you'd like more cool tutorials like how to sit in this chair or this TV or fireplace, make sure to like and subscribe.